Okay, everybody, welcome back. So now that we went over the basics and we got a little bit of a hint, I can't help but sometimes while I'm explaining kind of get into the more advanced, detailed description of some of the tools that I use. Can't help it. So we will go ahead and cover the more advanced ways I use these tools in the next section. But right now, before we get into any of that, I just want to use this time to kind of go over the the back-end stuff in the Adobe Illustrator program. So basically all the toolbar menu stuff up here, because I think it's valuable, and in the beginning I didn't know certain things. I would accidentally exit out. Like if I were to exit out of the pen or the toolbar, I would absolutely freak out, and I don't know, Command Z won't bring it back, you know. It'll bring that back, but it won't bring the toolbar back. We'll move this over here, because while I made this, I think that this can be some cool art, so we're gonna save that for the future. So yeah, I would delete something or get rid of it and like freak out because I wouldn't know where it went. So, and I want you to realize it's no big deal. The programs are very smart. They have everything that you need to make sure that you don't feel the way that I did. So like I touched on in the first part, we'll just come back into toolbars and bring it back. So I think that this is important. We'll spend a few minutes kind of going through the stuff up here. So let's just start with Adobe Illustrator. Okay, don't really use any of this stuff. File, save, obviously, file, place, all the other kind of stuff. So, and again, there's shortcuts for all of this. So if I just want to save it, Command Shift S to save it. Well, I didn't even realize I saved it. So let's just do Design Course 1. Save it. Yeah, all good there. So that's how to save it. And then let's just say I make some changes, I move some stuff around, and just Command S will save it as is. You don't have to rename it or anything like that. Okay, Command S. File, you have I showed you document setup, where you come in and you can change the size of the artboards or add artboards if you want. Print, obviously. Place. So this is a very, very important function that Adobe Illustrator has. If you want to place something into the document, whether it be something you want to trace, another element from another document or file you want to place in here, you just come to File, Place, or I always just the shortcut Command Shift P. Then this will pop up. I don't really know what's on my desktop, so okay. So you can come into your desktop, to your different drives, different folders. So let's just say I want to place in something I was working on the other day. So you can scroll out, double click it, and now you can see you have this little icon. It's ready to be placed into the document. So I'm just gonna click, and you can drag it to be different sizes. You don't have to hold shift here because it's already gonna snap to, and then you just let go, and there it is. It is placed. Now, because this was made in Illustrator, yes, it was made in Illustrator, but I can't go in and edit all the different shapes and stuff like that. So the file itself is placed within the document. So I usually use the place function, and we'll get into this in the pen tool chapter. When I have a drawing, I scan it in, I place it within the document so I can go in and trace it. So that's just place. So Command Shift P, you come in, you can place stuff in there. Wow, this is actually one of the first shirts I designed like 4 years ago, so that's pretty cool. Okay. So that's, of course, export. You can export as, a PDF, different file types. Also, if you're saving as, you can always change the format you're saving it as, whether, and again, this is going to depend on what you're using the actual thing for. So if you want to do like embroidery, for example, depending on the embroidery program, you would save it as an EPS or an SVG file. That's something you don't really need to know right now, but if you do end up taking your art or illustrations or your work and you want to move it into things outside of print, like embroidery, stuff like that, you would just save it as a different format. So, okay, that's the basics there. Edit, really, I don't ever use this unless it's like undoing or I'm sorry, redoing. But again, undoing and redoing, that's just, you know, it's all keyboard shortcuts are the mecca. It's everything. So let's just like Command C, Command V, or Command F rather, paste in front. If I want to undo that, Command Z, Command Z, Command Z. There we go. Or Command Shift Z will redo everything. So there you go. Edit, and again, really it's just the shortcuts are everything. So you don't have to really go to edit, copy, edit, paste in front, paste in back. All of those are in the shortcuts. You can see the shortcut names next to them as well. So I don't really ever use that. It's just the shortcuts. Command C, Command V, Command F is front, Command V is, or B is back. So yeah, cool. Forward object. So this is something you can select from up top. You could join the path when I already told you there's shortcuts for that. Convert to shape. We'll come to the making a pattern in the advanced part of this course. But other than that, a lot of this stuff can be done just using like the right click. So one of the things I'd use for this is if I wanted to transfer, let's do a different shape actually. So okay, so let's use this for example. So let's get rid of this. This is the shape I drew, remember in the first part, to show you the shape builder tool. And I think it's pretty cool, so I might use it for something. So let's just move it here. Okay, so I want to make this symmetrical. I think it looks really cool, some kind of weird butterfly or hand shape. So what I'm gonna do is Command C, Command V, paste will kind of place it randomly. So what I'm gonna do is Command F, paste it in front. So now you can see it's directly on top of it. With that one selected, I'm gonna right click and go to transform. And I usually do, so in this case, I'm gonna reflect it vertically. So now you can see it's just kind of flipped it over, and I'm just using the arrows and the shift to move it. So arrows, obviously you can move things with the arrows, and if you hold down shift, it moves it in bigger chunks. If I'm not holding shift and I try to move it, it looks like it's barely moving. Hold shift is moving. So that's what I'd use the object transform for. Yes, you can come in and move and rotate and scale it, but like you could just do that with the mouse and like with these. I usually just use this to transform it to reflect things. If I want to make things that are nice and symmetrical and even, I'll do that. So cool. Okay. Yeah. Type. This is just more options for the font, but you can really just kind of get those. Oops, going on. There we go. So again, that's over here like you saw in the beginning, but it's also at the top as well. If you want to do that, you can go in and find fonts. Yeah, but that's also all over here, so I don't know why they have it all over the place. So now, by now, you know, selecting something means it's, you know, you can move it around and edit it because it's selected. You see the little blue lines, stuff like that. Deselect, yeah, but you can just kind of click off of it and then it's deselected. So again, they have a lot of things within these programs to make sure that, you know, they don't miss anything. But the shortcuts definitely help. We'll get into this stuff more in the future. So if you are measuring something, you can just go to View and Rulers, and you can see. 1 second. No. Right up here, they popped up, and you can actually, if you click and drag, you can see this little ghost of a line. It'll actually bring it down or bring it over. So you can have like a nice right angle or, you know, even measurements in between each other to really kind of get in and detailed. I don't really use this as much, but I would imagine this is for graphic designers that do a lot of typography work where the letters have to be like perfectly in between each other. I don't really use this stuff because I'm more, I guess, logo based, but for people who do a lot of typography, that's definitely great. So View is just everything that you see on the screen for the most part. Now, I don't recommend coming in and messing around with this stuff. I have smart guides checked because So as you can see, as I move around, like the little purple or pink lines that come, those are the smart guides. So if I want this to be centered, you can see it's going to tell me, bam, it's centered. Now if you have those off, unchecked, you don't have that. So you're kind of just like you're going in blind. So I always recommend to have the smart guides on. Now this is like everything in the window. If you accidentally exit out of something or you want to have something pop up for you, this is where you come, is window. Now, workspace, you can change the actual look of the workspace depending on what you're doing. So, okay, so yeah, you can see that things change a little bit. I usually always have these. This is the essentials. This is what it looked like when I first downloaded and got Illustrator like 5 or 6 years ago. Now it's a little bit more advanced. It's the essentials, but essentials classic. Okay, yeah, kind of the same thing. It's a little different. It's a different one for painting. You can have all the different brushes, everything ready to go here. I actually like this one a lot. So you can just change different workspaces. Like I just was talking about typography. It's basically just like all the things you need for working with typography. Web design, not really so different. So I always just use it as essentials because you can also access all the same things that we just had. You know, here's the gradients and all that other stuff. So cool. Brushes, you just click it, your brushes will come up. But even like you said, it's all over here in this little toolbar over here. So if you want the brushes, they come up. Swatches, they come up. Swatches are just different colors. You can come in and change different art or swatches. This is really cool. So like if you're working with something and you want colors from the pop art era, all of a sudden, here's all the colors they used. Or kids stuff was another one I had open. Lots of bright, colorful things for kids. Or if you want ice cream colors, like here they all are. So that's another really cool thing that you could do as well. So a lot of the things that are in here are also on the sides. Here, your layers, all that other kind of cool stuff. I don't really use all of these other ones, mostly just the layers, the gradients, the brushes. You could do symbols. You can insert like weird symbols if you want. I don't really ever use this as well, but you can come in and I guess add like this Jimmy Neutron looking thing, atom. So yeah, cool. Don't really, that's like some weird Microsoft Word. What are those things called? I don't remember what those are called. But yeah, okay. So if you do have something that you accidentally X out of or get rid of, it just, you come in and you see if it's checked, it's on the screen for you. So you can just come in and just select it. Again, a lot of these things are on this toolbar over here. So that's just kind of a little bit of the back end of Adobe Illustrator. Some of the things I think are important. You can also change the stuff up here as well. Up here is like the opacity, which is also over here, which is weird. So it's like here and here, it's kind of all over the place. You could change it. So if I put something, you know, behind it, you can see through it. But that's just kind of the back end stuff that I think is really important. So we're gonna end it here. In the next part, I'll get into some of the more advanced things I use Illustrator for. So go to the bathroom, text your girlfriend, text your boyfriend, get up, do some stretches, drink some water, and I will see you in the next part.